Hello, my name is Dave Zussman, and these are two of my children. This one here is a Maltese. Her name is Lexi. She's 6 years old. And this is my Bijan. He's 2 years old. His name is Cowboy. They're terrific children. I highly recommend these kind of dogs. Let me talk to you a few minutes about what I hope you'll find an exciting home-based business where you could spend some of your time and your capital, because this is a business of investing your money to buy foreclosed houses. I've been in the financial business for, I hate to say, about 40 years now. I started off as a stockbroker in the early 70s, went on at night to get my Juris Doctorate degree in law, went into working for one of the big Wall Street investment firms, and we did real estate limited partnerships with the big brokerage firms. Most of them are out of business or been merged today, but I spent quite a few years of my life, about 40 years, managing money. I was a registered investment advisor for about 20 years. I taught at several universities, investment classes, securities, and law issues. And I've been in management or owning or creating financial companies for most of the 30 years after getting through with teaching and that earlier career. But it was always around the financial markets. Now, I have created this video along with my good friend, Burl Wook, who's in Philadelphia, and I'm in Newport Beach, California, in my home, and I'm doing it from my home because this is a home-based business, and I want you to see how you could make a relatively nice return on your money without having to go to work or go to a factory to make a living. If you have capital, that's the one requirement of money, because when you go to buy foreclosure houses, we buy them at the lender's auction, so you must pay cash. There is no financing. You pay on the spot, so you have to take cashier's checks with you to be able to pay. The auction takes 2-3 minutes per house. You pay for that house immediately thereafter in full. You get a receipt, and a few days later you get the title. You can buy that house, either rent out to produce a very high rental income. We find that 20 to 50% a year rental income is as common as will sunshine tomorrow. And you can buy those houses to fix up nicer to sell. Most of those sold houses, at least the less expensive working class neighborhood houses, are going to sell for $75,000 to $125,000. Now, that's not in New York City or San Francisco or Los Angeles, where prices are still Hollywood and make-believe numbers. But throughout the United States, there's very large supply, millions and millions of homes that fall into that $50,000 to $150,000 price range for working class neighborhood homes. Some of them relatively new. I often will buy a house that's just 2 or 3 years old. It's already gone into receivership and been foreclosed on by the bank, and it's usually sitting vacant, and it's brought to the auction. We bid at these because these are very lucrative properties to buy. Now, if you buy them for rental, you can probably do a minimal amount of repair on them, put a tenant in there who will pay anywhere from about $800 to $1,100 a month rent for a home, and you may have purchased that home in certain cities anyway, $25,000 to $30,000, including your repairs. So if you look at the rent to your cost, you're talking 35, 40, even 50% a year in rent, and we do that as regular as the sun's going to shine. I bought these 35, 40 houses this year, and most of them have been rented out for an average of 30, 35% rent across the board. In fact, I don't buy them if they don't produce at least a 20% return, and that's a bare minimum. On the other end of it is selling a house. Now, if you're going to sell the house, they're mostly going to go government finance. FHA, Federal Housing Authority, Ginnie Mae, Freddie Mac, and other government agencies will either be the lender on it or guarantee the loan to the bank. When you've got a government guarantee like a FHA, the bank requirements are relatively easy. Low FICO scores, low amount of income, not difficult requirements, not much different than renting a house, and you don't have to put much more money down. 3.5% is all the buyer has to put down to get an FHA loan. That's like renting a place and putting up a month or two security deposits. It's about the same amount of money. Except when you buy the house with that FHA loan, you can ask the seller to give you at least 3%, all the way up to 6% rebate at the close of escrow, so the buyer has the money to pay their closing costs, which is usually around 2 or 3%, or in many cases they use it as their down payment, 3.5%, and 96.5% is guaranteed by the United States government. Something tells me I see another major subprime problem coming a few years down the road, because if the economy continues to get worse, many of these people will walk away from them just like they walked away from the subprime mortgages, and the government will end up having to pay off the lenders. But from your standpoint, you sell the house, you get paid in cash, and you have your money to go reinvest into another house. Or take in that rental income for 3, 5, 10 years, and down the road sell that house. And if we do get a recovery, well, that house may go back to at least part way back to the 2006-07 prices. That average house that we're buying for $25,000 a day is probably a house that originally or was selling at that time for $150,000 to $250,000. We're buying it at 20, 30 cents on a dollar. And when we sell them retail, we sell them at 50 cents on a dollar. And that's the current market of the 2006 prices. Those were the high. So it's really hard to lose buying them as a rental or buying them as a house to sell. You just fix them up nicer if they're going to be a house for sale. Now, let me tell you some of the ways you could get into this exciting and I find very secure business. I sleep quite well at night. I have more than 100 houses, and I wish I had another 100. And that's why we're raising more capital for our fourth managed fund. We have 3 others we manage already. And that fourth fund is called DistressedRealtyFund.net. You're welcome to go look at it. You have to be an accredited investor to be able to invest into that fund. However, these are some of the ways you might get into this business from your own home. You find a fishing hole or a city that has properties you like in the price range you like. You cannot buy these kind of houses in major cities like New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles. These markets are nutty. Prices are still in the stratosphere. If you remember, out in California, it's Hollywood, and the prices are in the Hollywood area. And so the best thing I can tell you is throughout the United States, there are plenty of working class neighborhoods. Millions of houses are available. I think the number is around 12 million foreclosed houses. The lenders don't know what to do with them. Yes, they do keep a small handful and put them into MLS or sell them off as a short sale house. But the majority of them are taken to the all-cash lenders auction. They're on the courthouse step of every city in the United States will have it. And they're auctioned off in an open outcry bid in about 3 minutes for cash. So rather than the lender negotiate with the property owner who's in trouble and needs to get some modifications, he would rather foreclose that house, take it away, the house becomes vacant usually, the family moves on, who knows what happens to the family, and then the lender takes that house to the auction and dumps it for cash. And when you're selling it to professional buyers and people who are all paying cash, believe me, nobody wants to overpay when they're paying for cash. You may overpay when you're financing because it isn't your money. But when you're laying out the cash, you're going to grind that price as hard as you can and probably not leave an extra nickel on the table. So the best thing I can tell you to do, my glasses were slipping, the best thing I can tell you to do is look into these various ways of being in this business of buying foreclosed houses and see if you could find a way to invest a little of your money and see how the water feels to you. If it feels good, you can buy 5 more houses or 10 more houses. Just think what it would be in return of income if you were getting $800–900 a month and you had 10 houses. Well, that's $100,000 a year income, and you never left your house. you can hire all the work to be done. And so you don't physically need to go do anything. You just physically got to find them, work with realtors that understand the foreclosure market and understand the laws and the procedures. Go to the auctions, take your cashier's checks, and buy those houses, and then decide what are you going to do with the house. You're going to rent it, fix it up for a rental. You're going to sell it, fix it up for a seller house that will pass the inspections and escrow, and be in business in your own home-based business. Or provide a service to us for a fee and help us find lucrative markets around the country to buy more houses. We have millions of dollars to invest. And if the numbers are right, I buy 5, 10 houses at a time. So I'd like you to consider looking at our programs. There'll be a series of these. I hope they'll be beneficial to teach you a new, exciting way of making money from your own home. And thank you for watching.